Hey, good morning, my people. What's up? Hope and trust that all is going good. Today is Tuesday, the 25th day of August, 2026, and the time right now is 8:33 a.m. Well, when I got up this morning, did what I had to do, said my prayer, etc., and I began to do my reading. I came across this story on Facebook, on the Observer Facebook site. Says fed up with APA, protest flyer action gains traction, sorry, online. And I said, okay. And I went and I looked at it and I see it was dated yesterday, Monday, but I'm just seeing it this morning. And I read it. I read it and I'm going to read what it says. I don't normally do this, but I think I want to read this. It's a fairly short article. Let me go quickly. A protest flyer titled Fed Up with APA is gaining traction online as frustration grows over rising electricity bills. The flyer encourages residents to write letters to their parliamentary representative, bring copies of the April bills, and gather at the cabinet slash prime minister's office on Wednesday, August 26th at 11 a.m. So that's going to be tomorrow. Organizers are called Organizers are calling for residents to create a bill wall and submit complaints over the cost of electricity, particularly as many households continue to complain about choosing between utilities and other basic expenses. The issue has become more pressing for many households as electricity costs has risen in recent months, driven in part by changes to the fuel variation rate. For customers already dealing with food, school transport, and other everyday expenses, higher light bills have added another layer of financial pressure. The call for action comes as government and APUA officials prepare to hold a press conference earlier, earlier that same morning to address public concerns about higher electricity bills. So that means that they're going to have a press conference tomorrow morning. Yeah, guys, says the call for action comes as government and APA officials prepare to hold a press conference earlier that same morning, so it has to be tomorrow morning, to address public concern about high electricity bills. Public Utilities Minister Melford Nicholas and senior APA representatives are expected to discuss global fuel prices, current fuel costs, electricity usage, and changes to the fuel variation rate. That is the article there. When I read the article, when I read it, I laughed. And I did not laugh because I thought it was a joke. I laughed because I know the chickens are coming home to roost. I can tell you, I didn't even know that when I read it initially, I didn't even realize they were having a press conference tomorrow. But I can tell you what they're going to say, and I can tell you what the government line is going to be. I can tell you for now. It is going to be people, oil prices are up all over the world. We have no choice. We import everything, etc., etc., etc. So basically, that's what you're going to be hearing from them. They're going to pin it on what is happening in the world. That is the war between the United States and Iran, which would have encompassed the Gulf countries. That is a fact. That is a fact. That has happened. That has got the barrel of oil price going up and down, depending on what is happening in the Hormuz Strait. That is a fact. So when they come and they point at that, that will be a fact, and that will be enough for the Kool-Aid drinkers, in my opinion. That will be enough for the Kool-Aid drinkers. The Kool-Aid drinkers really and truly, they don't know any better. They don't really know any better. So that will be enough for them. But for those who have been eating off the public trough, right? And for those who have not been demanding better government representation for the taxes that they pay, for those who go along just to get along, that section of the society that know that over the past 5 to 7 years, I would say, right? For that section of the society, for the most part, know that the governance of this country have not been about country, for the most part, in my opinion, but about the politicians themselves, about their concubines, about their hangers on. They will have some reality to live up to now. So I'm not even worried about the Kool-Aid drinkers. I'm not worried about those who are living hand to mouth and scarcely that, trying to survive. I'm not speaking to them. But for that other section of the society who know that those of us who have been calling for better to be done from an administrative of government standpoint, when them get 3 and 4 and 5 paycheck, when people related to them on 2 and 3 entities, when them get all the duty free, when they turn a blind eye, because if they say what is best for the country, they believe that them or what they live in is going to be affected. Yeah, man, you got some reality to live up to now. Of course, it will start with the poor, those at the bottom of the table. It will start with the poor first. Who can pay will get cut off. Simple as that. That includes me too. If when APA send them bill, you can't pay, they cut you off. What they say, they cut you off 30 days after due date, I think they say. So be it. Right? That will just be the reality of the situation. But you see the section of people that I'm talk about, the hangers on and them who eat at the public shop, them people, yeah man, you can get to them eventually. It will get to them eventually. And it will get to them maybe in some different form outside of not only being able to pay. Because for them that have businesses or small business, so if people don't have the money for buy, the income affected. And if you haven't been watching what's happening in Antigua recently, yesterday me reading the newspaper, just this morning somebody telling me my friend from see if food shop get robbed. Yeah, that section, I'm not saying he's one, but I'm talking about those people who operate these small and medium sized businesses. So yeah man. So it might take other forms to get there. But that is the reality of life. A reality what we deal with. That is the reality of life. For me personally, I believe that this cycle will take us another 6 years, I would say. And why I say that 6 years, um, Trump has 2 more years. Much is not going to be changed according to policy, the policy of America. For those of us who follow international news, we see what's happening with Canada. With them now, and if that's happening with Canada, you know what I mean? I mean, us as well aren't even in the conversation. And it is becoming more and more, it is looking more and more as if the Republicans will retain the presidency, the House and the Senate. It is beginning to look like that. And if that happens, I heard J.D. Vance, the current Vice President of the United States, speaking about what's happening in between America and Canada. I heard his opinion on that. And I've often said, if J.D. Vance becomes the President of the United States, um, I suspect it might even be worse. Right? So that is how I come to the 6 years, because um, the move that America would have taken yesterday, as a matter of fact, in targeting countries working with Iran with secondary tariffs, that is going to create uh other tension points. I don't think America can turn back. No, So that puts America and China, as far as I'm concerned, on a head-on collision. Countries will have to decide you're with America or you're with Iran in terms of providing them an economic lifeline. When I heard it the other day, I was wondering if our CIP program accepts Iranians or not. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments. So don't believe that because we're down here and America say anybody who, we don't have no banks that no. Anybody who provides a lifeline to Iran, America has said that they will cut them off from their financial system. So countries are going to have to make choices. And for those of us, again, who follow what's happening, the whole idea of BRICS and those who want to align themselves with BRICS as opposed to the US, that is going to come front and center. So I see the first term of a a new Republican US president being 4 years. That's how I come up with the 6 years, 4 plus the 2 for Trump. Because it's going to take some time for it to settle internationally, in my opinion. So this is not something that's going to go away overnight. To come back to the electricity situation, because until that settles, our situation here will remain volatile, right? But again, as I said, I'm not arguing that is reality. That's not my argument. My argument is those persons who may live higher off the hog for the last 7 years, when they know the country was not being run in the state that's best for the country, them there who may talk to. Them there who may talk to. That's reality. I plan to drive by this place, this thing tomorrow to see what it's like. Um, I'm just a realist. That's who I am. And as I said, I already said what I think the government is gonna come and say. Time will tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. Um, but that is not the full story. When they come and tell you, oh well, oil prices is up all over, blah 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 blah. Because when oil prices was down, they don't come and tell you nothing either. You understand what I'm making? So this that superficial argument that the Kool-Aid drinkers will take now, it goes beyond that. It goes to how the country was being run and whether or not the country was put in a place where it could observe some level of external shock for why would you consider a reasonable period of time until you can take it no longer, right? Um, that's what I say, and I'll start at the end. As you see, the bottom piece of my backdrop says, "Your life does not change better by chance. Your life does not change better by chance. It gets better by change." And we will watch and see if those who would have put us in the position that we're in, that is, create the problem. Let's watch and see if they can give you the solution. I doubt it. Have a nice day, my people. Until we come together again, bless up.